Welcome back to In the Know, you Fastenal listener. We hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good spring so far. You're listening to the world's most listened to podcast about PPE and gloves. Let's face it, that's a small category. I hope you're doing well out there. I know I am. It's a lovely day if you love pollen in my neck of the woods. On today's show, we're going to be speaking with Janine Duda. She's going to be talking to us and having a kind of a continuation conversation of our recent training with our safety specialists on the Fastenal side about rubber insulated gloves, or as we like to call them in the Ansell world, rigs. Talking about all the many things that you may want to keep in mind as you go and speak with a customer about rubber insulated gloves. We're also going to be talking with our good friend James Barnes, who is our regional sales manager in our North Central region at Ansell. So join us as we go and we get in the know. Okay, we are joined now by Janine Duda. Now, Janine, tell all of our listeners what your position title is at Ansell.
Thank you, Scott, for having me today. So my position is a global portfolio manager for the electrical rubber insulated gloves for Ansell.
Now, we just had a big training with all sorts of Fastenal sellers about rubber insulated gloves. And really the A1A thing to remember about rubber insulated gloves is there's an acronym that's used pretty much industry-wide. And what is that acronym?
That is correct, Scott. So the acronym is RIG, and it represents exactly what it is. It's a rubber insulated glove. So
RIGs is what we're talking about today. And for those of you that are out there that are listening and you didn't have a chance to catch the training, we're following up with the complete deck, also an FAQ page, all sorts of resources that you guys can use later on, really, before a call, after a call, just to refresh yourself on, what exactly we're talking about here. But really, during that training, we talked about an Ansell program, and Janine has been just really so instrumental in putting this program together. But Janine, what we decided is we're going to keep this really simple. We're concentrating on 2 colors and 2 classes, right?
That is correct, Scott. So the 2 colors are black and yellow, and we're looking at Class OO and Class O today.
So I think that the cool thing about Class O and OO is a lot of times we get wrapped around the axle when we are the seller of these gloves because they're so important. They're such important pieces of PPE because they're critical life-saving PPE. But when in terms of Class O and OO, what is the industry standard, Janine, on retesting Class O and OO?
So the industry standard follows the ASTM D120 standards. The industry standard is that any glove in or left in storage can be stored up to 12 months from the date of the initial testing of the glove. However, once the gloves are put into use, into the user's hands, every 6 months, that glove needs to be either retested or rotated out and sent to a nail facility.
So one of the beautiful things about this program that we've put together for Fastenal is we're really instructing the Fastenal seller, don't even have the gloves retested, right? But it's these classes of gloves typically aren't even retested because it's a cost thing, right?
That is correct, Scott. The cost of the glove and then using the glove 6 months, it's because of the thinness of the glove, due to abrasion and puncture, it's possible that it could puncture during those 6 months. However, the cost of the retesting could outweigh the cost of replacing them.
So we're going to talk about this over the course of the next few months because this won't be the last time that you're on our podcast because this is a serious high-level program that we're putting together for the Fastenal team. So today we're going to keep it real simple. We're going to say, what are 3 things that Fastenal sellers out there that are listening needs to remember about rigs, rubber insulated gloves? And the first one that we've put down is, and I want to ask you this question, have you answer it? Janine, how do you know what glove class to recommend or what type of glove to recommend to your customer?
So actually, Scott, recommendations actually come from the end user. They are required to know the electrical currents that they're dealing with on a daily basis and what type of protection that they need. So for instance, your Class OO will resist any type of electrical current with a maximum volt of 500 AC. as well as your Class O up to 1,000. So for instance, if your end user were working with something close to that 500, they may want to use a Class O, but that would be for them to say, hey, I need to order a Class O to be able to protect myself at the end of the day.
Excellent. So let's talk about dates for just a few minutes, because everybody really hones in on the dates that are on the gloves, because it's a primary source of information. It's posted right there on the end of the cuff usually. Again, before we go, we've recommended, hey, if at all possible, don't even have the gloves retested. Sell them a new glove. Get the resell. But if an end user is determined to have a pair of gloves retested, let's talk about dates. How long does a user have before a glove has to be taken out of service to be retested?
Yep, that's a really good question, Scott. So the dates appear on the palm side at the cuff level of every glove. That date represents either the original born-on date, which is the date that it was first tested at the factory, or it could be a retest date where maybe that glove was already retested. So the user, once the glove is in their hands, they have 6 months actually from the date that the glove is issued to them. So for instance, anytime, let's just say the date on the glove says January 2020 and the gloves were just issued today to them, that date on the glove just says that that's the original date that the gloves are manufactured or retested. It's the date that the glove goes into use that starts the 6-month clock. So even though the date has January 2020 on it, or let's say 2021 in this case, the date today, March 16th, they now have 6 months from March 16th to use that glove before it needs to be put back into testing or to be discarded in this case.
That's excellent information. So let's talk about visually inspecting gloves. I know a lot of people that sell these types of gloves get really freaked out because they think, hey, I don't want to be the one that visually inspects gloves because this is a critical, life-saving piece of PPE. But really, it's a lot easier than that, because anything that makes one of these types of gloves not in mint condition is really a primary reason to pull it out of service, right?
Yeah, Scott, again, good question. It is really, really important and also part of the ASTM D120 standards that the end user does a visual inspection on a daily basis prior to use. Again, if you're working with electrical currents and you have a family to go back to at the end of the day, you're going to want to check those gloves very precisely before you start any type of application. So a visual inspection would consist of checking for any type of swelling, or God forbid petroleum jelly a product came into contact with that glove, it could cause degradation of the glove. So it's really important for these guys to check between the fingers. Also, to do a self-inflation every single day, either by inflating with a portable inflator or by blowing air into the gloves to make sure that there's no air leak, to also make sure that there's no punctures or cuts in that particular glove that could expose them to any type of electrical current. But in addition, some of these guys are also wearing leather overcovers that should also be checked for any cuts in the glove.
So it's a really good point as far as when you're checking out these gloves that are already in service that you've sold to a customer. Anything that makes it not in mint condition, pull it. It needs to be replaced. Recommend that it is replaced for the safety of the user. So it's excellent. It's an excellent way to pick up some incremental sales. Janine, we really appreciate you joining us. This has been a lot of fun. This will not be the last time that we talk to you about rubber insulated gloves and the RIGS program with Fastenal. I guess the last thing that we want to get you to do is go ahead and pitch the amount of available inventory that we have. This is something that we have ready to go at Ansell for Fastenal, right?
Well, this is really exciting news for us, Scott. So the company Ansell has really invested a lot of money into increasing capacity at our manufacturing facility. So currently in our distribution center in Charlotte, we're carrying about 50,000 pairs of gloves on a daily basis. with always about 40,000 pairs on the water coming into us. The available stock is always available to our regional sales team as well as our customer service team. Stock is not guaranteed until the purchase orders are placed into the system. So please don't hesitate, reach out to us. If we don't have something that you need, we can always offer an alternative.
Janine Duda, thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to talk again really soon, but we certainly appreciate the time.
Great, Scott. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, join with us now is our friend James Barnes. He is the regional sales manager in the North Central region with Ansell in America. And James, welcome to the show.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well. Want to talk to you today about Chemical Guardian. Our listeners have heard the term Guardian over and over again, but there's also a unique, I guess, other side of the moon to Guardian called Chemical Guardian, and it's a rather unique tool for a distribution seller. Can you kind of give a high-level brief of what Chemical Guardian is?
Sure. Chemical Guardian is a way that we can interact with our end users to guarantee they're wearing the right hand protection when it comes to chemicals. It's a very simple process where you get data from either their SDS sheet or their CAS number, and we can put it into a program and get your report usually back within 24 hours of what glove they should wear with each chemical and also how long they can wear it.
And this is a tool that, when we sell at Ansell, we use just about every day in the field. Why is this such an important, and why is this such a critical tool for maybe a distribution seller like Fastenal to take and utilize when they're face-to-face with their customer?
It's a tool that can set you apart from competition because it shows value and makes you extremely sticky in these accounts. Because once you solve a problem for an end user and show the value that you're here to help them, the next time they have any issues or questions or challenges, they'll be more apt to reach out to you to help solve their problems moving forward.
That's a really good point. When we talk about Chemical Guardian, what are some of the things that when you instruct your sellers in the North Central region, when they go into an account, what are they looking for? I mean, are they looking for a specific type of risk, or are they just looking to consult, from the front door to the back door?
Mostly it's to consult from the front door to back door, because every plant that I've walked through, and I've been with Ansell for 15 years, I can't say every plant, but over 90% of the plants I walk through with Ansell, you see people wearing leather gloves, working barehanded, wearing cotton gloves while they're working with chemicals. There's always going to be these challenges to help your end user overcome.
When I talk about, being in the field at Ansell, I was for, a brief period of time in my career. It was almost a scary thing to sell to a customer that in a lot of ways you're talking about something that could cause someone cancer, talking about, chemical interaction. Have you found in your opinion, in your career, is it kind of intimidating to consult in regard to chemical protection?
Protection is very intimidating, but these tools, especially the Chemical Guardian program, these tools are supported and backed and verified by PhD chemists we have on staff that work with us. So when we make a recommendation that comes from the Chemical Guardian tool, it is double checked and guaranteed that it's the right recommendation. So if anything, Chemical Guardian makes it easier and it's less stressful and intimidating to have these chemical conversations with your customers.
I tell you, it's always fun doing a recording and an interview, because you just heard my dogs in the background, so I apologize about that. But going back to Chemical Guardian, I think it's such a powerful tool to actually have living, breathing experts involved in this decision-making process. I imagine in the times that I was in the field, how just potent that makes you as a seller in front of the customer in terms of bringing that knowledge to that decision maker so quickly. How quickly are these recommendations made?
If it's common chemicals, you can have a report back within 15 to 20 minutes. If it's a mixture or some type of solution, I mean, it could be back within 24 to 48 hours with the right information, what to wear and how long to wear it. So you get a quick response when we make these chemical recommendations.
That's outstanding. And what type of do they need to engage in some type of interface? Is there a website they need to go to? Explain to the Fastenal distribution seller how they can access Chemical Guardian.
They can reach out directly to their Ansell territory manager. And starting off, that would probably be the best approach. But there's also a Chemical Guardian program that they have access to for just the one or two chemical solutions that they're looking for.
Well, listen, James Barnes, we really appreciate you visiting with us about Chemical Guardian. Again, it is an outstanding tool to use in the field to make you look like the total expert. I tell you what, if there's anyone in the North Central region, tell our listeners where the North Central region is in the United States on the map and how they can get a hold of you if they have any questions.
Yeah, the North Central region, it's basically from Kansas City, Missouri, all the way out west to Utah, up to Montana, and then back east down through Illinois and Indiana as it comes through Missouri. So it's a large region. I have 7 territory managers. The best way to get a hold of me is probably my email, james.barnes@ansell.com. And if you need to give me a quick call, my number is 816-807-1609.
James Barnes, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Scott.
For anyone out there that's interested in Chemical Guardian Partner, the website to visit to register or to search the existing CAS numbers that have reporting against those particular chemicals, please go to www.ansellguardianpartner, all one word, lowercase, .com. That's ansellguardianpartner.com. That's all the time we got for our show today. We appreciate our guests, Janine Duda, Jimmy Barnes. Always a pleasure. Until next time, stay safe.